Hello everyone. Today is a day of celebration for me, because after over 30 years of my existence, I finally managed to finish a horror game. I always wanted to play and finish horror games, even back in my high school years, but I never mustered the courage to do so, because I was too jumpy and frightened to progress whenever I tried. But very recently, freaking finally, I managed to overcome my fears and successfully powered through my first horror game, which is obviously Dead Space 2. It has been over 10 years since its release, and I wanted to find out if it is still worth diving into. If you have not played the first game, do not worry, as I have not finished it yet either, as I got stuck midway because I ran out of ammo. I did not want to restart the game, hence why I jumped into the sequel instead. I can say for certain that the story is still easy to follow, and it does provide a quick summary of what has transpired previously. 3 years after the events of the first game, Isaac Clarke, the protagonist, awakens and finds himself restrained in what appears to be a hospital, and is unable to remember recent events. Fortunately, he almost immediately receives assistance by an unknown party. However, it did not take long for Isaac to discover the situation he is in.
Alright, I know you're confused right now. I can explain everything, but you gotta trust me, okay? Listen, you're in terrible danger.
What happened? Oh God. Isaac Clarke, if you can hear me, run!
And so begins Isaac's journey to once again fight these creatures known as the Necromorphs. Although 3 years ago he supposedly already destroyed the artifact that was the cause of these disturbances known as the Marker, Isaac must unravel the mystery on how these horrifying beings have once again came to be. Dead Space 2 is a third-person action game where players must have a keen eye and a steady aim to shoot for the weaknesses of the Necromorphs. Their weaknesses range from shooting their limbs to stop them from reaching you and to eliminate them quickly, to shooting dangerous parts of their body that can explode before it reaches and instantaneously kill you. Believe me when I say that you need to get better over time in aiming and firing your weapons, as well as being alert at all times. But even then, I guarantee that you will be dying a lot. Efficient resource management is also key if you want to make it all the way to the end, as ammo is often scarce and will force you to be precise in your shooting. You also obtain credits throughout the game, which you can use to spend on health kits, weapons, upgrades, ammo, and new body armor in the store. There's also a second resource called power nodes, which you can use to either upgrade your weapons and armor, and sometimes open locked doors that contain a significant number of goodies. Do take note that power nodes are even harder to obtain than credits, so do utilize them as efficiently as possible. Dead Space 2 also features various puzzles that obstruct your path, and to also break the ice of just shooting down necromorphs. These usually entail the use of both stasis and kinesis, where stasis slows down objects or necromorphs, while kinesis is used to grab objects and can likewise be used against the necromorphs by throwing objects to them. As you uncover the sinister plot, you will also be able to pick up text and audio logs that enrich the story and universe, as well as receiving clues on what is going on, and what may happen in the near future, which again breaks the ice of just simply going guns blazing towards your objective. Dead Space 2 took me approximately 9 hours to complete on the normal difficulty. Do take note, however, that I experienced a difficulty spike at the final 3 chapters of the game. It got so difficult that I toned down the difficulty to easy at the final battle, as the weapons I had in my arsenal were not optimal for those final moments. So if you want to play optimally, It could help by doing a little research on the best and optimal weapons in the game. All in all, Dead Space 2 has aged well since its launch over 10 years ago. It continuously forces you to remain alert and not let your guard down, as more often than not, the necromorphs will attempt to flank you so frequently that towards the end of the game, I could already predict at times when some of them are behind me. The story is nothing out of the ordinary, but the execution is nonetheless solid and immersive. The audio is outstanding, as it ensures that the player is always on edge, and the tension is never ending. The visuals and performance also remain great, despite its age, as I never encountered any graphical glitches in my playthrough. The mostly dark environments and narrow corridors, along with creepy cult themes, such as candles and symbols marked on the floors and walls, truly make the horror experience all the more immersive. If you are looking into purchasing the recently released Callisto Protocol, or even the incoming remake of the first Dead Space, but remain uncertain, I highly recommend picking this one up to get a feel whether these games are for you. This is also a good starting point for getting into the horror genre, as it is not too scary, and it will be easy to get used to the jump scares pretty much most of the game. The only caveats I can say are that there are many times that there are numerous and powerful opponents to make the game artificially more difficult. The game also makes a habit of spawning them from behind, hence why I mentioned that I somewhat knew when there are some of them behind me towards the end of the game. The puzzles can also cost you multiple deaths before you manage to figure out how to solve them, as the game can be vague in its explanation, or simply not having enough time to act on your feet before you perish. These are not, however, a deal breaker, as it is still a good experience for around $15 in full price as of this recording. I am also glad that this is the first horror game that I managed to finish, and I am looking forward to playing more in the near future. With that said, thank you very much for watching, and if you liked this video, do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content. Thank you and have a great day.